What's good, everybody? This is a Shot of Whiskey podcast, episode 3. I'm Jordan Taylor.
And I'm Josh Gosser.
Let's get to it. What's good, Badger fans? We back again. Shot of Whiskey podcast brought to you by the good people at New Amendment as a part of Beyond the Big Ten Podcast Network. So make sure you check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you get your podcasts, and on YouTube and all other socials, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok with the handle at Beyond the Big Ten. Josh, we back again, as mentioned, man. Big week for the Badgers. 2-1. You surprised by that?
I'll take it. 2-1. I think before it we were like, if we could go 2-1, we'll take it. It would have been nice not to get blitzed by 30 to end it, but that's all right. 2-1, we'll take that any day.
we gonna get to getting blitzed. But honestly, what game stood out most to you out of all three? What was the game that you thought was the best game? Obviously, not the Arizona game. Was it Marquette?
I would say it was Marquette, just because of the energy we came out of the gate and just kind of handling them from start to finish. You know, it never really felt like they had a chance to get back in the game. I think they clawed within a couple points in the second half, but it felt like we had a stranglehold on the game for 40 minutes, which anytime you're playing a top 5 team, a pretty legitimate top 5 team in the country, and to be able to handle them the way we did, with the amount of pressure we had, had an up and down start to the season. I think that was huge to get some momentum and confidence all around. So I'd say Marquette.
Yeah. And especially seeing what Marquette did the next couple games too. They blew out Texas and then beat Notre Dame last night. So super impressive. Blew out Notre Dame. I was about to take the -21 on on Marquette versus Notre Dame, but I'm glad I didn't.
That was nuts. Yeah.
But yeah, -21 is crazy between two high majors, but that's neither here nor there. And actually, I don't even gamble. I lied, Don. You didn't. But obviously, you know how we do, man. We got to talk about the things that we like, the good takeaways, things we did like, things we didn't like from. Let's start with just Marquette, the 2 wins, Marquette and Michigan State.
Marquette and Michigan State, I would say just the way we started those games. I mean, anytime you're playing teams where you talk about gambling, probably not favored, in Breslin, at home against a top 5 team, and to get off and running the first, 5 to 10 minutes of the game. I think that set the tone for the rest of the game, especially the way we play, trying to control the pace, control the tempo against some of those teams, take the crowd out of it in Breslin. I was just really, impressed by the way we got up on those teams, and were able to, against Marquette, Klesmit caught fire, as we mentioned earlier, and Michigan State just took the crowd out of the game from the start, essentially. So just the way that we were able to come out ready to play, in really all 3 games, if you can even include Arizona. I mean, it was probably 20-20, about a quarter of the way through the first half, and, came out pretty strong. That's what I was impressed with all around this week.
Yeah, definitely. Like we mentioned, and I think we did a little blur, but Max Klesmit looking like Klay Thompson for 15 minutes against Marquette was kind of crazy, especially the way he was making those shots. Those were tough shots. But I think the thing that I probably liked most was obviously starting out early, but in the Marquette game specifically, they did make a run. I think they cut it to like 2. I can't remember. It was like a week ago, but they cut it to like 2 or 4, whatever it may have been, and to be able to withstand that run and kind of take some of that pressure on. And a big part of that, I think, was AJ Storr attacking the rim the way he did. I think he only shot, double check, 5 of 14, but he had those attacks that were not very Wisconsin-esque, very unique to Wisconsin basketball, where he got inside the paint, missed, and then Stephen Crow ended up shooting 5 of 6. But I think 3 of those were off of putbacks off of AJ Storr forcing help, which is a big thing to have, I think, in games like that. His shooting percentage has not been great, but I think his impact in that way, putting pressure on the defense, has been huge.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think another positive is you never really know who was going to step up. You mentioned Max against Marquette in the first half. In the second half, he didn't score a point, but we had other guys step up. Michigan State, AJ had a great game. Arizona, John Blackwell came in. So just the depth that we have, especially on the perimeter. We have 4 or 5 guards who can make plays, who can make shots. So it feels like, the Wisconsin scoring droughts of last year, where we'd go 8.5 minutes or damn near 12 minutes at times. it feels like we're going to be able to withstand that to only make it 3-4 minutes. Just because we have a variety of options to go to, and in one game it might be this guy, next game it might be this guy, and I think that's a positive to have. We saw it this week.
Do you think those scoring droughts are a Wisconsin thing or a college basketball thing?
I don't watch enough college basketball. It's definitely a Wisconsin thing, or was a Wisconsin thing. But I think it's a Big Ten thing more than anything. A lot of these Big Ten games, especially when you get in the middle of the Big Ten season, when you really start to grind it out. The non-conference, it feels like the pace is a little more up and down. But I don't know. The past couple of years, we saw it with Wisconsin, and I'm not gonna just rag on these guys. When we were playing, it happened during us too. So it's just a way that we play stylistically, and now we're playing more up and down. I like the way our offense is flowing. A lot more movement, a lot more wing ball screen actions, just to get guys moving and guys attacking like AJ. So I just think we're going to be better this year without some of those long scoring droughts.
Yeah, I do like they kind of put in that Princeton action with empty side ball screens into Princeton action a lot, which I do like. The one thing about that, which we'll get into, is I think too many times we play along the perimeter when we're doing it, which again is when AJ is great, because I feel like he's one of the few. I'd like to see Chucky be a little more aggressive attacking the paint. I feel like he hasn't been that aggressive so far this year.
Yeah.
But as we mentioned, Michigan State AJ was 8 for 11 and carried the offensive load, 22 out of the 70 points. So that was super encouraging. Michigan State, that's not a big win at Breslin. That's not a typical Michigan State team, but I'm all over the place right now. But I guess I say that just because I was watching Tennessee and Illinois, and I saw them go on a scoring. Tennessee went on a huge scoring drought, and then Illinois did. So I can never figure out if it's a college basketball thing or it's a Wisconsin thing. But as part of my tangent, what are ways that Wisconsin can avoid those scoring droughts going forward, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's to your point, just getting those empty side ball screens and having, last year we went on like a 10-minute. I don't think we scored a field goal in the last 12 minutes of our season or something against North Texas in the NIT. That's how we got knocked out. We didn't score a basket. And I just think we have more versatility this year. In terms of last year, we were just relying on either jump shots or Steven Crowell or Tyler Wall just backing guy down to the post to make a post up. This year, we have AJ who can come up ball screens and get to the rim. John Blackwell, attacks and creates some advantages. I think Klesman's doing a better job this year. And we still have guys who can make threes. We can still do the post up. So I just think we have a different variety of options, and we can get to the free throw line a little bit more. We're converting more there. So it just feels like we have the opportunity to score more. And, we got blitzed by Arizona. We'll talk more about that. And that happened to us in the past, getting, once or twice a year. It felt like we'd lose by 20 or something. But we still scored like 70 points or something. It wasn't one of those games where we just were going on scoring droughts and couldn't score. Like it was the other side of the floor where it mattered. So that was a positive from that end. It was just, it feels like our scoring droughts this year are going to be less noticeable or impactful or just ugly.
To your point about scoring droughts, I didn't feel like you said, we scored 73 against Arizona, but it felt like that's one of the few times I've watched the Wisconsin game that I feel like we looked just physically outmatched.
Yeah.
Like we gone on scoring droughts before, but normally we play teams that will pressure, do whatever. And the one sequence that stood out, I mean, I hate to do this, but it's the cliche one that probably was on every highlight when Pell or whatever his name is from Arizona hit a three on the wing. I think it's like his third three of the half. And then very next play, Caleb Love I think he knocked it away from Max Klesman and came down and took off from outside the paint. And it was just like, damn, like it didn't even look like we really had a chance in that game.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they had, how many dunks did the Arizona have? It felt like they had like 8 dunks. Like
yeah, they were up and down. I really can't, like, of all the years that we played, like between like North Carolina, Duke when they were national champion, whatever, I cannot remember a time when we and maybe that's fatigue. I don't know. That was a hell of a week, hell of a gauntlet to go through. So shout out to those guys for doing that. But the one thing I did like was Chucky. I thought Chucky really competed, especially in that first half. He went up and tried to down 15, went up and tried to contest at the rim. I was scared for him for a second, but shout out to him. That's big. So I did like that.
Chucky kept attacking. I mean, AJ had that baseline rip where he went up two-handed dunk on him. I mean, he got hacked. He got hammered, and they didn't call it. Then they went down and made a three. That was like a chance for us to put a little pressure on them, make it 10 in the second half, and it ended up being a 5-point swing because they didn't call a foul. They came down and hit a 3. So we were still attacking. Blackwell had a tremendous game off the bench, so he's my favorite player. Yeah, I just love that kid, man. That kid is tough. Hey, buddy. Yeah, that Blackwell is tough. So, I just his fearlessness going in the second half in a tough environment was pretty cool to see. So, yeah.
Special guest. We got a special guest.
Yeah. Say hi, Jordan. Say hi.
Hi.
What's up?
What's up,
man? We gotta get it. He gotta come on the intro, man. You gotta give his intro. What you doing, man? What are you doing? Josh, you think you like Steph Curry now? You bringing your kids to the press conference?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Me, Jason Tatum, Steph Curry. Yep, same sentence.
Nah, but I agree with you. Like AJ, him attacking the rim, that was a big swing. I don't think there was a ton to take away from that game. If you're Coach Guard, though, I guess one of the things that I'm preaching is, we just came back from a 3-game trip that against 2 top 5 teams and against Michigan State in Breslin Center, and you go 2-1. I think that you're walking away extremely encouraged with that. But one thing again that stood out was Arizona. We only had 6 second chance points against Arizona, and only one of them coming in or 2 of them coming in the first half, and got out rebounded 39-30, which is a little bit alarming. I thought Tyler looked a little outmatched. Steven Crowell only had 2 rebounds, and he kind of looked like the big fella from Arizona was just kind of Balo was just kind of swallowing him up.
Yeah,
but it was.
It reminded me against when we played Illinois like 2 years ago with Kofi Coburn. He had like 28 and like 8 dunks, and it just was like he is just physically. We can't. There's nothing we can do. Steven, he's going to try, Carter Gilmore's 6'7" backup. Like, we just don't have enough, and they physically handed us. There's no doubt about it. But it was one of those games where if Arizona was going to make outside shots, we had no chance, and they made outside shots. And if Arizona does that, they're going to be tough for anybody.
Shoot, so we were 10 for 21 from 3 and still couldn't really.
Exactly.
But I don't want to keep hammering this home, but can you remember a game that we played in where you felt like or even when – like later, even when I wasn't there and we weren't together, like in your career where you just felt like outmatched by
It kind of reminded me of the at Ohio State game your junior year. When Beaver went like 9 threes, and we just, we didn't. I don't think we were physically outmatched. They had Sullinger down there, but it just felt like there was no chance that game. It felt that way. Honestly. My junior year, we made it to the Final Four like 2 weeks later, but we played Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament, and we only lost by like 8 or 10. But it felt like we lost by 20 because they had Adrian Payne. They had some big, athletic, strong dudes, and they played because we had just beat them earlier, and they came like for our heads, and I was like, that team's gonna win the national title. I was just like that. It felt like it, and we only lost by like 10, but and we ended up making the Final Four that year. So I don't know why we had that mindset, but. I don't know, man. The Ohio State game, I think, at Ohio State is the only thing that comes to my mind. But again, that wasn't as like physically dominant as this was because they weren't as big or athletic that way. But with David Lighty, Buford, Kraft, and those guys,
I was going to say, I think my sophomore year against Ohio State even more so probably because they had, and I'm mad I'm gonna even have to say this out loud, but our boss when they had Evan Turner and David Lighty and Will Buford, and Evan was playing the point guard, and it was like I was guarding him at one point, Tim was guarding him at one point. It was like they were big as hell, and I think it was similar. We lost by like 15, but it just felt like they were just kind of dragging us that game. I was just like, damn. So I guess that's a good point.
Your senior year, we lost at Michigan pretty bad. I don't think it felt that way because it was just they just got on us and we just couldn't score. Yeah. But that's what I mean. A lot of the games I feel like we were in, we just scored 48 points or something, just couldn't score, get going. But to give up 100,
I think
an easy 100 doesn't happen.
And to be fair, I think our offense, some of that honestly was contributed by the offense, by the swing. The swing could bog you down, whereas now the offense they run, like you said, is more free flowing. So I think it's on, again, AJ, Chucky to put more pressure. Tyler's got to make a shot. He's got to be able to knock down a 3 or find ways to be more effective. Because there's a couple times they're just sagging him off and they're sagging off of him and they're taking away driving lanes. So he's got to be able to, do different things where if they're sagging off, you got to go immediately find Max or Connor or Chucky and set a screen, kind of like the Draymond effect while he's in Golden State. Making a lot of generous references for these guys today, but
yeah.
But
LeBron James,
yeah, Stephen Crowder need to be a little more AD like, but it's doing things like that to get guys open, and they're playing off you and they're playing deep. Go set a screen, get someone open right away, and then you can get in your short roll. There's more flow that way. Doing different things like that, and he has to be able, as a fifth-year senior, has to be able to recognize those things, and obviously the coaches have to, which I'm sure they are, mention things like that. So, but either way, all in all, man, positive week for the Badgers. I think there's a lot to take away from that that you should be happy about and move forward with. The one thing that should not be, we have a Connor season problem, which is going to get, and we've talked about it before, but I think we'd be remiss not to continue talking about it. I don't know what's going to happen with that, and it's becoming a little worrisome, I'd say.
I agree. It's been felt for a while, and I feel bad for the kid because he came into the season, first game, back injury, and anyone who's had a back injury, that's tough. But it feels like he's getting healthier, but just feels like he's getting passed a little bit in the pecking order. There's only so many guys you can play. And to have a guy as dynamic offensively and talented as AJ Storr, and then you still got Max and Chucky, and then John Blackwell coming on, you can't keep those guys off the floor the way they're playing. And you can only have a couple of them on there. And Connor feels a little bit, one-trick pony-ish right now. With if he's making shots, if he's making, coming off a curl and hitting his shot, that's his opportunity. If he's not, what can he bring us that John Blackwell can't do more over AJ? Or so I feel bad for Connor. I still have a lot of belief in him as a player and as a kid. I respect the hell out of him, the way he's still engaged in games and the way he's working. And but it's going to be interesting. Coach Gard's got a tough decision, and it's a good tough decision to have so many options who can come in. But I'm with you. I feel a little bit for Connor right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he definitely is forcing. You could tell he's only getting like 2 or 3 shots a game, and as soon as he comes in, it's like he puts it up, and it's kind of like, and I think we've all kind of related to that at one point, where it's like, all right, if I make this, then I'm gonna play. If I don't, then
I was just about to say it's like freshman year on Bo Ryan all over again, right?
The only thing that's tough for him is he's had so much success as a freshman, and then now as a sophomore. But I remember my freshman year, I think I checked in against Minnesota, maybe took a shot. No, I think took a shot and got a foul, checked in for maybe 47 seconds and came right back out. And I was like, hey, man, I was ready. I was about to tell Bo, man, hey, listen, let me tell you something, man. I have words with that, man. But, again, we've talked about this at length before. Connor has to continue to find a way to impact the games in other ways. And it's a problem to me only because it's going to impact – we need him to be successful. I think the coaches know that. I think he knows that, and I think it's something that has to get figured out for this team to maximize its potential.
I agree, and I really respect the way Coach Gard and the staff has handled it thus far, giving him, getting him out there and giving him opportunities and trying to get him healthy, and Connor's still, playing and being aggressive. But as I mentioned, at some point it's a numbers game, and if we didn't have John Blackwell or AJ didn't transfer in, I'm sure Connor would be getting a lot more minutes. But it's just the way it goes sometimes. But like I said, I have belief in him and belief in the coaching staff. They've done a tremendous job this far. So Arizona's just a bad matchup for him. I think Michigan State and Marquette also weren't great matchups for him, just having so much guard talent. And he's got to match up against somebody. So
how many minutes has he played total on the season so far?
I mean, he's averaging like 6 minutes a game, I feel like. I mean, I just texted one of my buddies the other day. I was like, he's averaging like 8 minutes a game or something.
Let me double. Yeah, shit. 8 minutes a game over 31, 21 splits. Hasn't missed a free throw, though, so shout out to that. 7.5.
Well, to your point, when his best attribute, obviously, is scoring and shooting the ball. And when you're playing 8 minutes a game, you can't get in a rhythm. You can't use your your strength to the team's strength in that type of role. So, but what you gonna do? I don't know.
Yeah,
we're playing well. We're playing well, and overall, like I said, I really respect Connor and the way he's handled it thus far, being demonstrative and engaged on the bench and all that. I don't think I would be that way. So I give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, definitely shout out for it doesn't seem like it's impacted the team, or he's very a very like you said, positive outlook or positive attitude. So yeah, definitely shout out to him. Hopefully one of these days we'll be able to have him on. And
but it's kind of like the midway. You kind of break up your season a little bit. So we kind of got through that. Now we have finals week. We play like a couple crappy teams, and we got like a couple weeks before the Big Ten season. So this is where you can really get healthy. Work on your individual game, do what you focus on yourself instead of focusing on the teams you're playing. Because the past few weeks we've been focused on playing Virginia and SMU and Arizona and these teams. Now we can really focus on ourselves, getting healthy, working on your own game, improving. So it's that type of the year that's kind of exciting time. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
And as you mentioned, we played a really tough schedule. It gets a little easier from here on out, at least in the next couple games. Presumably, it gets easier. I've been working on my vocab, man. I got a teammate here that
was impressive.
He challenges me with my vocab every day. So he's only like 22 and he thinks he has a good vocab.
I was gonna say it can't be Sam.
He does have a good vocab. Yeah. No, it's definitely not Sam. Definitely. A kid's named Bradley Caboza, man. Yeah, he's a really smart guy.
There you go.
But yeah, man. So next up is Nebraska, Iowa, and who am I missing? Forgot who else. Blanking right now. You gotta know these things, Josh. You supposed to.
Don't we play like Jacksonville State or something?
Jacksonville State. I think like Chicago State.
Yeah, we're not counting those.
Iowa and Nebraska.
We got until January 2nd till we play anybody. So we got like 3 plus weeks.
Disrespectful.
Let's call it what it is.
Disrespectful. No, right. So hopefully, definitely. Hopefully, build some confidence with those games. Get different guys in the game, and go from there, man. But we're looking forward to it. 7-3, and I think it's looking bright, man. Looking bright for the team, and we'll continue to be cheering them on and doing that. And that's all we have for you this week. I think you got anything else you need to cover? Anything else you want to get off your chest? You want to say?
No, I was just gonna say I just want to give credit, shout out to the coaching staff and the players. I mean, they've come out. It started off a little rough that first week, and just give credit to those guys for having this tough schedule and coming out and playing. I think Gardo's doing a great job, and the players are responding. So,
well said, man. Well said. Last thing we wanted to cover before we get off, we want to talk about the in-season tourney in the NBA, man. It's a little European flair, noticeable for us. I'm sure it was influenced by the European say-sos in the NBA. How do we feel about that? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it?
You tell me. You got more of the European experience. What do you think of it as in your league? What's the motivation on your end?
The bonus money, like if we keep it a bean, like the bonus money. But Europe's different because you kind of plays less games, so you play with that intensity every game. Whereas the NBA is not necessarily that way. So I know they mentioned that guys are playing with more intensity and yada yada yada, this, that, and the third. But honestly, I think that was a little overhyped. I thought the last couple games were high intensity, like the quarterfinal, semifinal, and all that. But overall, I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie. If you can get like guys playing hard in December, I enjoyed it. But I also think that it was a little overstated.
Yeah, I don't think the point of the playing hard was meant to be the group play. I think the whole mindset behind it was probably that Final Four in Vegas. Hyping that up and getting a an NCAA tournament type feel. And I think that was mission accomplished. I know I watch those games. I don't watch a ton of just random games on a Thursday night or something. So. But yeah, I mean, you talk about the money. LeBron James doesn't need $500,000, but there is some legacy behind it. And a little like, if you're in it, let's go out and try to do something. So I felt like the guys were playing harder, and which was cool to see.
I bet you if you ask Bron, he want that $500,000. He never had too much money, Josh. Capitalist society, my brother.
Maybe he can pay for Spotify now. I heard he doesn't pay for his own. So maybe that'll.
Shoot, I'm sure you're probably gonna go buy a car. If I was gonna buy something nice, something crazy, but.
$500,000 is $500,000. You're right. I'm just saying when you're a billionaire.
You know what I'm saying? Not liquid billionaire though. But all those other guys could probably use that $500,000. But it's and then also I will say that anytime you get to see LeBron like sprint back on defense the way he was in December, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he's trying to win this for LeBron. I love LeBron. That's one of my probably my favorite player. He does be having his little ulterior motives for things, so he could talk about shit. So I'm sure he wanted the in-season tournament for some comparison to Jordan of some sort. But overall it was good though, man.
It gives you a level. There are levels to this in terms of players, and in a regular season NBA game, everybody kind of looks the same. Some guys who aren't quite there yet, and guys like LeBron who maybe take it a little easier, you see how great he really is when he really goes for it still.
Yeah.
So, and guys who are trying to get to that level, you see that they're not quite there yet when guys are really playing to win something.
Tyrese Halliburton, Wisconsin kid, man. That's
Nuts.
Tyrese Halliburton. Yeah,
Oshkosh, and yeah.
When he went to did he go to JC first or he went straight to Iowa State?
He went to Iowa State. Yeah, Iowa State.
Went straight to Iowa State. So I don't remember people being so up in arms when he got out of state.
No, he wasn't that heavily recruited. I mean, because that was right around the time. I think him and Tyler Hero played on the same AAU team. So Milwaukee, Oshkosh. So they were kind of. Or at least, the same grade. And that was when, Jalen Johnson, and that was a big stack of high-level Wisconsin talent that went to some big schools. But, yeah, it wasn't up in arms about him going out of state that much. It wasn't that up in arms about him going 10th, 12th overall at the time. Like, yeah, he could have went a little higher, but unbelievable, that kid.
Yeah, he's definitely unbelievable. I would think that – I feel like Wisconsin doesn't typically lose out on too many guys like that. Which is maybe he was a no-star recruit potentially. I can't remember exactly what he would have to fact check that, but I feel like Wisconsin doesn't normally miss on guys. He had to be very low because I feel like the 3-4 star out of Wisconsin, if they go after him, Wisconsin typically does a good job.
We've lost a couple guys to Iowa State. I remember we lost Matt Thomas back in the day. You know the name Matt Thomas? He played in the league.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so he went to Iowa State. It's also a scholarship numbers game. Like, I don't think we offered Matt Thomas because we offered Bronson instead. We just didn't have the numbers, and it could have been the same for Tyrese. I think we had Tyler Hero at the time, and I don't know how many scholarships we had, but that's part of it too. But it's good to see Wisconsin dudes have success. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, it definitely shows all the talent in the state. Before we go to Con Knutson, to me, he's going to Duke. Con Knuppel. Yeah, sorry, he's going to Duke.
Yep, that dude's legit.
We'll see. I don't know if he passed my eye test yet.
He's legit, man.
Yeah, we'll see. We're gonna see. He's a 5-star recruit going to Duke. We're gonna see. We'll see.
I'm not saying he's a first-round NBA pick, but he's a legit college.
You going to Duke and you legit, then the way you talking, you better be a first-round NBA pick. My friends that went to Duke that were 5 stars were first-round NBA picks.
Your one friend, Tyus? Or what? 2.
Trey Jones. Chris Humphreys.
Yeah, okay.
3. Yeah. Apologize.
I'm sorry. What do you want me to say?
I said you tried to play me. Apologize. Hey, man, but that's all we got for y'all. We appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to check us out with more Beyond or a shot of whiskey, a podcast on Beyond the Big Ten. Excuse me, it's been a long.
Yeah, I got you already. Flustered.
Yeah, you got me a little flustered. Be sure to check us out. We have more guests for y'all coming up. Hopefully, we have John Blackwell on the show and some other players, coaches. So be sure to tune in, check us out, and make sure you follow along on YouTube and all other socials, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok with the handle at Beyond the Big Ten, and then check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And we appreciate y'all. Until next time, we'll catch y'all.